Hi there, my name is Tamara Doris, and I'm super excited about my new Mind Over Matter 90-day manifestation journal. And so I am so convinced that if you use something like this and you stick to it for 90 days, that it will make an incredible difference in your life. Incredible. But I'm so convinced of it that it's not, you have to buy this. You can do it with a notepad or your own journal. So I thought, why not just do a short little Jiffy class, like really super short, free. So anyone who wants to just do this at home can do it on their own. Or if you do decide to buy this, and I do have the e-version too, then it's no big deal. You can just have the instructions and know that my intention behind every little part of it. Okay. So I'm going to do a share screen. There we go. And we should be right here. So the first thing that I want to call out is I have a few pages that are nice and pink. And I just think that it just makes me feel good. It makes me happy. And remember, being in alignment is all about being happy, right? So at the beginning, I have a couple pages about explaining what manifestation is. Then I explain, first of all, I don't know that if I should go over this whole thing because most people know what manifestation is. But basically, it's talking about the whole purpose of this journal is to keep you in alignment for 90 days. That's the whole goal. Journal or no journal, if you can do that for 90 days, you are gold. You are manifesting you are manifesting, okay? So you have to learn and train yourself to stay in alignment. So the first thing that we're going to do for this journal is we're going to look at our ideal outcome. And our ideal outcome, if you have never read any of my books or coach with me, it's just this moment in time that you want to manifest. Now, I want to be really clear. Let's say you're trying to manifest making it to the peak of Mount Everest. You probably aren't going to do that in 90 days. But that's okay. That can be your ideal outcome because that's the end vision. That's the end. That's your magic moment of maybe you being on the peak going, yes, I did it. So that qualifies for an ideal outcome. But what I want to be clear about is that if you're just starting training right now, probably not going to happen in 90 days. Doesn't mean you shouldn't use that for your ideal outcome. Why? Because throughout the journal, you have the opportunity to pick a daily and then a pre-monthly, because there's 3 months in 90 days, right? So you have the opportunity to benchmark it. So if your 90-day manifestation, not your 90-day, if your overarching manifestation, your ideal outcome is that you're going to climb Mount Everest, you can better believe the action and the attitude and the energy and the alignment that you demonstrate from day 1 to the 90th day of a three months journal is going to make an incredibly huge, enormous effect on how close you get to that manifestation. So my point is, go as big as you want with your ideal outcome. Just keep in mind that it's not necessarily going to happen in 90 days. Like if I want to have a New York Times best-selling book and I haven't written page 1 yet, it might take more than 90 days. It might take me 90 days to write the book. But you know what? Keeping the ideal outcome of what I want, like, and this is not my vision, it used to be, but it's not my vision anymore. But if I wanted to be, a Hay House published New York Times best-selling author, I have to start somewhere. So that would be my end goal, my ideal outcome. But I would use these 90 days with that ideal outcome in mind so that I can manifest all the things along the way that are going to take to get to that point. Like during that 90 days, maybe I could write a book. I've written a book in 90 days. When you add in editing and layout and all that, sometimes it's more than 90 days, but you can write a book in 90 days. I've done it probably 15 times. Okay, so that's your ideal outcome. Then we have a quick start guide. Whoops. So the quick start guide, whoops, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Now we have MetaCreate. So this is just the explanation of what meta creation is. And if you follow me, then you already know. But if you don't, then you can just read about it right here. I also talk about identity. Why do I talk about identity? Because if you don't have what you want, it's because you've not become the person who deserves it. And I don't mean any disrespect, nothing derogatory in that statement. This is a purely energetic, exact acting universe. So when you are in alignment with the thing that you desire, you take on the energy and the identity of being the person who already has it. Does that make sense? So there's a little bit of talk about that you can read. And then it gives you the opportunity, just like your ideal outcome, write it down. And you know what? I want to point out on the ideal outcome that you only have several lines. And that's because sometimes in my coaching, people will give me a 3-page document. That's not an ideal outcome. An ideal outcome is a moment in time where you have the thing that you want, just a moment in time, because that's what you're going to imagine during your meta creation, is that moment in time. I don't need 700 things going on, one moment in time. In fact, I have to tell you, I started writing a great ebook to go with this. And it got so good that I said, no, this is going to be a book. This is going to be a big book, not a big book, but not an ebook. So I'm working on that right now, and hopefully that'll help. But I don't want you to wait for the journal, right? You can have your best 90 days now, or do this on a notepad, then buy the journal when the book comes out. Either way, whatever works for you. Okay, so then you have these few lines to talk about your identity. What do you have to do? Who do you have to become? What changes in your identity for you to be the person to have the thing that you want? Make sense? Give you a little bit longer on this one, right? See all those lines? So you really want to think about that. I want to make sure you get the difference. Ideal outcome is a moment in time. You don't need very many lines. Identity is pretty significant. Think about your heroes. Think about the people that you consider role models. What do you have? How would they eat? How would they drink? How would they show up in the world? Would they get up and put lipstick on every morning? I mean, assuming we're talking about someone who wears lipstick. Or would you like sit there in your sweats and eat Doritos and binge Netflix because you don't have any appointments? We have to think about these things. How do you want to show up in the world? Okay, then we go into the quick start guide. This is just the front matter of the book, by the way. This is not the journal. This is just the instructions and whatnot. So I give you the example, but I'm going to walk you through it. So you can read all of this on your own about what we go through. Okay, so there's a beginning and an end to each day. We'll get there in just a minute. Okay, so you've got your morning section and your evening section. Easy breezy. So you can write the date if you want. I like to write the date, and in all of my journals, I've always written the date. I think that it's a great way to gauge how far you've come, because oftentimes people do not realize how far they've come. For example, today my husband and I took our new puppy to puppy school, and Cody, my big white bear, had gone to the same puppy school 7 years ago. And it was really interesting to me today, because I remember, watching people how stressed out they are about their puppies. Cody is just, he gets to just go for free because he's an alumni. But the new puppy, trying to make sure she's not barking and not going all over the place. And this, you get a little stressed out and frustrated. And I remember I used to do that with Cody. And now he's like the best boy, right? I mean, he doesn't do anything wrong for the most part. But you don't know when that moment happened that all of a sudden it changed. So I like you to keep track. I encourage you to keep track of your days, because when things happen, especially when we're dealing with the magic of manifestation, I'm a science person, but it's magic. I don't care what anyone says. When you're dealing with the magic of manifestation, sometimes you don't know that defining moment, which is why we have an ideal outcome, by the way. But I like to keep track of the date, just so I can look back in time and go, wow, how far have I come? right? So I suggest you do that. Okay, so every morning you start out with 5 affirmations. And I just did a podcast, I think a blog post, but for sure a podcast and a YouTube video on affirmations. So wanting to do them the right way, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes here talking about it. Your affirmations should always be in the positive and in the present. I am abundant. I am successful. I am releasing 5 pounds. I am in charge of my life, whatever you want them to be. But you want to do 5 every morning. And then you want to do 5 gratitudes. Now, here's the cool thing about affirmations and gratitudes. You get to play however you want to. If you want to affirm I am for things you're not yet, that's okay. And if you want to give gratitude for things that you haven't manifested yet, that's okay. This is your journal. You get to call the shots. It's all about upper alignment. So if you want to say, I am so grateful that agent called me to audition for this role, even if it hasn't happened yet, it's your journal. You can do it. You can also give gratitude on some days for your morning coffee or for the puppy at your feet, right? You can give gratitude for that, whatever you want. So your affirmations are your statements that you're gonna write 5 down and you're gonna say them out loud. Then you're gonna think of 5 things you want to be grateful for. Past, present, future, doesn't matter. 5 every day. If you start out with these 10 things every day, how can you have a bad day? Okay, that's really important. Then we go to the outcome that you want to create today. So it could be as simple as, today, I'm so happy and grateful that I finished my taxes. Or it could be, today, I'm going to close on an enormous deal. Or today, I'm going to be so happy when the dentist appointment is over. Whatever it is, this is just for today. So you have your big ideal outcome, that's for your whole journal. But this is just for your day. Okay, every day, add it, your affirmations, your gratitudes, and then what you want to plan for that day, your outcome for that day. Everyone should have an outcome for that day. I do not, who was it? Alice in Wonderland. I think it was the Queen that said, I do not get up in the morning without thinking 5 impossible things, something like that. But I love that because we have to, if we don't start out in super high alignment, super excited about it, it's just going to dwindle down as we get tired and we get hungry and we run into distractions and problems. So you've got to start out in a high vibe. And I don't care if you're a morning person or not, you've got to start out your day in a high vibe. Then you have a checklist. And notice on every single page of your journal, for this journal, MetaCreate is checked. Why do you think that is? It's because it's the one non-negotiable thing. Not negotiable. Got to do it. And then you can check in all the other things. And you can check in, make salad, make smoothie, do yoga, call blah, blah client, go to the dry cleaner. This is your checklist. And maybe you have more, but I made it at what I feel like is a good number. And one of the things that I do is I have this half for professional development and this half for tasks. You can use it however you want though. So you might put MetaCreate, read something spiritual, yoga, smoothie. And then on this one, you may have your work task. However you want to do it is up to you. That's it for the morning. Now we go into the end of the day. And it's not labeled, so you have to notice by the word embodied, because that means ED means it's done, right? So this is for you to reflect how I embodied my ideal self today. So this is where you sit down, maybe with a glass of wine or a cup of tea or whatever you want. And this is where you say, okay, how was I today? I really want to stress this whole thing is awareness, right? Alignment is the key. But if we're not aware of when we're out of alignment, we're never going to be in alignment enough to be an energetic match to the things that we want. That makes sense? So how you embodied yourself, this is where you'll sit and you'll reflect and you'll be like, I love that I went and, tried on a pair of Louis Vuitton shoes, if that's your thing, not my thing. Or I love how I played with the dogs in the backyard. That's my thing. How in the day, where did you find joy? Okay. Now, under that, this is an important one. how I caught and corrected my energy today. What is that? That's where you caught yourself out of alignment. It's where you said, shit, I just gossiped. I better change that around with a reverse affirmation. I love her. I'm sorry she's like that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you got snappy with a clerk on the phone and you're like, oh, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I know it's not your fault. That's catching and releasing. Or maybe you get an email or a bill or something that happens that just really upsets you and you do EFT, or you journal it out, or you go for a walk or a run or a dance. So how I caught and corrected my energy today, if I had to say one thing, and I can't say one thing because I think every element of this journal is so critical to stay in alignment, that if I had to, like gun to the head had to, I would probably say this is the first step, because we can say affirmations till the cows come home, and we can do gratitude all up and down, we can tattoo gratitude all over our body. But if we cannot catch and release when we fall out of alignment, it's not going to happen. So this is what, now that you know you have to fill this in as you go through each day, you're going to pay attention. Like someone's, and it can be so innocent. Someone can say, oh my God, can you believe she did that? And you're like, no, kind of doing the eye roll thing. No, I can't believe she did that. Catch yourself and go, oh shit. And then say, but I bet she's doing the best that she can. And that's like, that corrects it. We want to get where we're not doing that, but it's like using whiteout. Remember whiteout? It's like a kind of correct. So something is better than nothing, right? And again, when it's your emotions, your physiology and your psychology are kissing cousins. They're so closely related. So don't think for a minute that when you feel sad or upset or stressed, that you cannot change that psychology, which is biology, by the way, because it's your mood. So it's neurochemical. Don't think you can't change that with your physiology. You can run, you can do dancing, you dance with your cats, dance with your dogs, run up and down the halls, go to yoga, do something, but you can use your body to change your psychology. So don't forget that. A lot of times we want to live in our bad mood. We're like, oh no, I've had a bad day and I deserve it. What does that mean? What does that mean? I had a bad day and I deserve it. If you had a bad day, don't you deserve to make it better? That's what I think. So the catch and correct is really important, and I could talk for hours about that, but I won't. You have to wait for the book. Okay. Then down here, you just have like a nifty little note section. Any observations, anything you want to pat yourself on the back for that isn't fitting the other spots. And that's it. Okay. Then we go through all of these days till you have 30 days. And I didn't make this calendared because people can buy it and start whenever they want, right? But it's all the same until we get, just bear with me here because I'm going to have to get to, is this a 30-day mark? Maybe not. I'm going through and through and through, and eventually we'll get to the 30-day mark. So when we get at every, it's 3 months, right? So when we get to the 30-day mark, I didn't pass it. I bet I passed it. Let me just go all the way to the end. Anyway, they're right here, but they're every 30 days. Right now I'm on page 192. So obviously I've skipped 2 of them, but it's soft, so you don't see it, but it's at the end of 30 days. And it says every 30 days, now that you've reached the end of the month, it's time to do some major reflection. So this is where you do a monthly recap. Short amount of space, but I want you to focus on the month overall. What if you can't remember? Guess what? You've got the journal. Go back and flip through the pages. This is why it's so important every single day that you write in there. Even if you have a really super fast, busy day, it doesn't matter. Get something on writing, because my goal with this, and this is neuroscience. My goal with it is to habitually get you to be so focused that you have to write in that journal twice a day, morning and evening. And worst case scenario, you do it in the evening, but hopefully you can take 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, and you do it you're setting up a habit. And after 90 days, it's going to be a habit that's going to say, I'm focusing on being aware of what I want. I'm focusing when I'm not in alignment with what I want. And I'm regrouping and reflecting every day. These are habits, and they're habits I know you can do, and I know they will help you be in alignment the more that you do them. Okay. So monthly recap, go back and look in your journal the last 30 days, read. What happened? What did you manifest? What did you push away? How can you be better? What can you do more of? What can you do less of? It's not time to beat yourself up. It's not about a shame or blame game. It's just being aware, being aware. Like maybe it's, I notice every time I'm around that person, I gossip. Or I notice every time I'm around that person, I get really, motivated. Every time I listen to this person on a video, I want to make things happen. Every time I listen to that person, I want to poke my eyes out with cocktail swords. Pay attention to how you feel. That's your monthly recap. Then I have a couple of lines for what can I clear out. And one of my favorite things is feng shui. And so a couple times a year in the free Facebook group, we do declutter, de-junk June, and I forget the other one. But I believe that we always need to get rid of stuff. And I say that as someone who is rather a collector. So some people might have a super clean, orderly house. I'm a collector. I mean, I have clothes in my closet and I clean it out. It's just that I love a lot of stuff. I love crystal stuff. I love hearts. I love stones. Oh my God, I've got probably 5 million tons of crystals. I have piles of crystals, like crystals in every room of my house, like piles of them. So I'm not getting rid of those in case anyone's volunteering. What I'm saying though is clearing out is an emotional as well as a physical action. And so we clear out the things that no longer serve us, the things that don't give us joy. And as we do that, we make room both physically and emotionally for things that do give us joy. So it may seem silly to you to say, time to clean out the hot closet because you want to attract more abundance. But trust me, it has everything to do with it. Because as within, so below. No, as within, as without, so above, so below. So when we clean in our environment, we clean in this environment and we declutter. So I ask you these 3 months, at the end of each month, what can you clear out? It could be a drawer, it could be your car, it could be your garage, it could be a closet, it could be a bookshelf, right? I probably once a year or once every 2 years, I go through all of my books and think about it. I'm a writer. I have piles and stacks and ceiling to floor bookcases in 3 different rooms. And I listen to Audible and I read Kindle, but I still love the feel of a book. So I probably order, I'd say maybe 2 to 5 books a month. And so I run out of places to put them. So once a year or year and a half or so, I go through and I make donations out of them. And that's another thing. I'll just tell you this one last thing about clearing clutter out. In most towns, Facebook has now I'm going to forget. It's something giveaway for free. So it's not a marketplace. It's a donate place. And so people in certain neighborhoods, like they really want to make sure that you are in a vicinity where you can say, hey, I'm getting rid of this baby stroller. So someone that's a nearby neighbor, it's like next door, but it's on Facebook. And it's all about giving instead of selling. I know some people are like, no way, I paid $20 for this. Think about the energy of that. I mean, if you need the $20, okay, sell it. But what I'm saying is there's a stronger energy of being in alignment when we give things away. Generosity is a huge underexplored energy. So I'm just saying, if you have things that you can give away, I think you get more out of it. I always have this saying that, and it's not my saying, I'm taking credit for Jesus's words. That's not very good. in the Bible, it says something about, and I'm going to slaughter how I say this, it's saying something about when we brag in person, when we call attention to ourselves, that's our reward. The accolades, the pats on the back, the hey, good job, that's your reward. It's when you don't do that that you get rewarded in heaven. Now, I'm not talking about heaven here. I'm just saying, energetically speaking, it's very similar in that when you give stuff away, just to give it away, to be kind, it's going to come back to you. You're going to get rewarded, but let it be the natural flow of the universe. Let it just be this natural energy. You give a bag of good clothes to the Goodwill, and then you come home and you have a new client call on your phone. That's how this works, right? It's fun. It's energy. And it works very exact and systematically if you understand the universal laws. And that's what this journal is about. Okay, what else? This is one you're not going to like. What or whom can I forgive? Now, notice on here, 1, 2, 3. I only gave you 3 lines. It's okay if you only use 2 of them. The idea is every month, this is, remember, your monthly reflection. Every month, I'm just asking you to come up with 2 or 3 people or situations that you can forgive. That's not asking a lot. And forgiveness is such an important part of manifestation. Why? Because when we hold a grudge, that's a blocked, suppressed energy in our energy field, which, as you know, if you follow me at all, your energy field then, goes into your physical vessel and can end up as a divorce. Did I say that? That was a Freudian slip. As disease. So, for example, we know that problems with your lungs are grief. And we know that problems with your liver are anger. And so when it comes to forgiveness, wherever you have grief or anger or sadness, which would be pancreas, I think, that's not good for your body. So all I'm asking you here for is at the end of each month to forgive. It could be yourself. It could be your dog. It could be the neighbor who's just really annoying. Doesn't matter. But come up with a couple things you can forgive and really do the honest to goodness forgiveness work, right? I did not put the Ho'oponopono prayer in this. I'm trying to think if it's in the beginning section. I don't think it is. But the Ho'oponopono prayer is a beautiful, beautiful way to forgive. And it's just, just all you have to do is just say, I love you, thank you, forgive me, blah, blah, blah. And you're just putting the energy out there. And it really, really, I think it's really a miraculous tool. I use it every night, whether I need it or not, as I'm falling asleep. Any situation that I'm worried about or thinking twice about or kind of feeling bad about, I say it. And if I don't have anything that I'm worried about, which is more often the case than not, because I've been working with this stuff for so long, I just say it to say it, right? To bless people. Okay. And then, are you ready? My manifestation intentions for the next 30 days. So here you have a few more lines, but I want you to follow. At the beginning of the journal, you have your ideal outcome. It may be over here. It may not happen in 90 days. Doesn't matter. You need to have these 90 days that are in front of you to get closer to that, right? That's where the journal, that's what it is. If you have a vision, an ideal outcome that's up here, and you're right here, you still got to go through those 90 days. So you may as well go through those 90 days, taking you closer to that vision, than go through those 90 days getting further away from your vision. Does that make sense? Okay. Then, and remember, each day you get to say your ideal outcome for the day. Well, at the end of each month, you get to name your intentions for the next 30 days. See, we go 90 days, 1 day, 30 days. So we're covering all your bases here. So my manifestation for the next 30 days, you can look back at the 30 days prior, and you can say, okay, so what do I want to manifest in the next 30 days? And what I recommend, and I've been teaching this for so long now, and I have clients, and especially in Intention Academy, and they have this ideal outcome, and then it's time for them to do their monthly intention call, and then sometimes they choose things that are not at all in alignment with their ideal outcome. But I've got a caveat to that, okay? Let's say you have a sick child. That should be your intention, right? So your manifestation for the next 30 days is to see your child healthy and well. And someone might argue and say, well, that has nothing to do with my ideal outcome of climbing Mount Everest. Well, yes, it dang well does, because if you're worried about your sick child, you are not in alignment with that goal, with that ideal outcome. So I'm just encouraging you to make sure that you don't randomly say, like, let me give you an example, because I know it's easier if we have exact examples. If my example, my ideal outcome is I want to climb Mount Everest, and I know it's going to take 6 months, but I need these next 90 days to stay in alignment to it so I can get closer to it. For me then in my manifestation to say, next 30 days, I want to manifest a trip to Hawaii. Now you could argue and you could say, well, Tamara, I figure if I go to Hawaii, I'm going to be feeling good. I'm going to be in such good alignment. And that's okay. And it's not wrong. Nothing's wrong. And I'm not the boss of everything. I'm just saying that if it's not at all related to your ideal outcome, and it's not going to take you closer to your ideal outcome in some way, to just really reevaluate, right? And that would be a good argument. If you said, yeah, but if I go to Hawaii, I'm going to be able to rest for a week. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to be high vibing it. Good. Then that works. It's up to you. You know, no one's going to grade your journal. I'm just encouraging you that you stay on track, because I'm going to tell you, and I know this from my own life. Oh, so many times I've done this. We say we want something and it's a really big thing. But then in 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, maybe 2 years, we totally switch gears. We do this. We do this. You know, and I've done it like so many times in my life, until I got really crystal clear on, this is what I do. I teach this material. That's all I do, right? I mean, I do some teaching. I might sell something now and then, right? I write some books, but it's all wrapped up and under this nice umbrella of manifestation, right? That's it. And anything, and I get offers sometimes, you know, to do this or to do that, or to speak here or speak there. And I use the litmus test. 1, does it put me in a high vibe? And 2, does it put me in alignment and on track for my ideal outcome? And both of those have to be yes. I won't take just one yes. So I encourage you to do that too. And hopefully, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Hopefully this has been helpful. And again, you don't have to buy this. It's, I don't know, I think it's $20. And it would have been less expensive if I didn't have the pink writing, but I can't help it. I love the pink writing. So I did it. Anyway, the ebook will be a lot less expensive. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with printing out the ebook. In fact, I probably will make it free on Kindle Unlimited. How about that? There's nothing wrong with printing out the ebook and putting it in a binder and making that for a lot less expensive if you want. But or just, you know, copying in your own journal and doing the same thing in a notepad. But I hope you will do this every day. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that this will give you a roadmap, if you will, to take you closer to the next 90 days so that you can be in greater and greater alignment with your most outrageous, wild, ideal outcome. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.